YouTube. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm in my son and daughter's room right now, and I have a little time before I have to go run errands and do a bunch of stuff today. So basically, I don't even know what I would call this video. It's kind of a rant, but sort of like an uplifting kind of thing. Last night I had watched a documentary on Netflix, and if you have Netflix, please look this movie up, or documentary. It's called Miss, as in MISS, Representation. It's a little play on words, and it's basically about how we as women, I think we've all kind of put in our head that we've come a long way in society. It's not just a man's world anymore. Women are strong. Women are powerful. We can do anything a man does. And yet, we haven't really gotten very far at all. And this documentary really opened my eyes to how, I knew that there was sexual commercials and explicit sort of things in the media and everything, but I don't think I realized how much it's sort of thrown at our young girls. We as a society have sort of bred our children into thinking that women are the lesser sex. And it's not just men who feel that way. Women, we do it to ourselves. We do it to other women, which is terrible. That is one of the worst things you can do, because I think consciously we need to keep in mind that there are young girls all around us, and we are role models, even if we don't realize it. Even if we don't have our own kids, or we're just around other people in the grocery store, you are a role model. And it's really important that we stop bad-mouthing other women for no good reason, especially about their appearance. That's just stupid. I don't understand why people feel like, if I badmouth this girl and say that she's fat and say that she's ugly, then that must mean I am super attractive and people want me. Because is that really what we want to show our kids? And not just our young girls, our young boys. I think boys in general, they're put inside of a little ball, and you are not allowed. You are not allowed to cry. You are not allowed to show any sort of emotion. And when you grow up, you're gonna teach your own kids and treat other women in the world that they are sex objects. Hello. You are not allowed to treat women like sex objects. That's terrible. Are you going to be a good guy and you're going to love her? Doesn't matter what she looks like. You're going to pick a girl or boy, I don't judge, and tell her that she is beautiful, and it doesn't matter if she shaves her legs. That's really important. Do you know that? It's really important. Aw, you're all hugging on me. This is supposed to be a serious video, and it's getting all emotional and adorable. To quit trying to, look our best, and quit trying to please others by our appearance, and because majority of the time, that's the first thing people think about. Even I do it too. The first thing you think about is like, oh, that's an interesting shirt, or wow, why those are weird shoes with that outfit, But it's like, I think we're so used to it going that way that we don't really, it's the norm, we don't think, oh, that's, why would I even think that way? No, it's just everyday life. We're talking like news channels and news shows that are supposed to be really giving you the hard facts and talking about like serious stuff. And what's the most, high-rated topic that they end up talking about? Celebrities. And, oh my god, that girl ate a bran muffin. she is so fat now. And I'm just like, why? You're supposed to be the news. You're supposed to be talking about stuff that actually is important. Nobody cares about. I mean, people shouldn't care about that. And they say that they're doing it for us, but they're really not. They're doing it because it sells. Sex sells. That's very obvious. Everyone knows that. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't sell. And it's something like, even in magazines, even in kids' magazines, it's so based around the importance of the appearance. Little girls having to try really hard to be cute and adorable when they're young, and then as soon as they hit like 12 and 13, you better sex it up, and you need to try and make yourself attractive, because if a man doesn't love you, then you are completely useless. And I think that is the most terrible thing to ever teach your daughter. I mean, my goal in life is for her to not even consider, appearance. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I let her dress whatever she wants to dress in. I mean, as long as it's appropriate, of course. But, like, I don't care if her clothes match. I don't care if she's wearing 2 different color socks. It's really not that big of a deal. I think the only time I ever really care about what she's wearing is if we're going to, like, a wedding or something. Which I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. I don't know. I just feel like this documentary was really, important. And I think women and men, I think married couples should watch it together. And I think it's crazy how we live in a society where this is acceptable. And I really, people really love the reality TV shows. I for one, can't stand them. I know a lot of people really like them, and I'm not saying you're a bad person if you do, but I really feel like we should really think about what the message is here. Hey, stop. And not just this documentary, I think another really important documentary, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but that's where I watched it. It's called The Invisible War, and it's about women. Since women were able to join the military, they have been getting raped. And there is nothing that anyone has done about it. The women have tried to, talk about what has happened to them and hope that it doesn't happen to anyone else. But it's still happening. And it's happening a lot. It's not like every once in a while, a girl got raped. I guess no big deal. No, it's terrible. No one, man or woman, should be violated in such a way. And I think it's ridiculous that the military has really done nothing about it. And not just the military. I mean, I feel like shouldn't the president or someone in Congress do something about it? Make some sort of law where, we go to it. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But again, I feel like women are still really repressed, even though we feel like we're out and we're doing what we want. But even in movies and stuff, the parts, something that was mentioned in the documentary, the female roles, the ones that were like, yeah, we're kick butt, we're in charge and all this stuff. But if you really think about it, they're usually extremely, glorified and sexed up, and it really has nothing for the girls. It's really just for the guys. They're like, yeah, it's a strong, independent woman, so I can fuck it. Like, that's really all they care about. Excuse my language. I wasn't planning on cursing, but it just kind of happened. I don't know. I mean, I just feel... And I know not everyone feels this way. I know that there are men and women who do agree that the media and everything is just sort of thrown at us. But I think it's really, really important that we talk to our kids and kind of limit TV. Like, yes, I let Nora watch Netflix, but she usually watches, like, happy shows. Like, she watches Goosebumps. We've been watching Goosebumps a lot lately. That's a good show. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of the stuff on regular TV. Like, I had been watching the news lately in the morning, and it's all kind of the same stuff. There's never talk about, what's going on overseas that much, unless it's about the royal baby, which isn't a terrible thing. I'm not saying hearing about the royal baby is terrible, because I actually like watching stuff about that too. But I do feel like, okay, let's take the royal family for a minute. Kate Middleton literally had just given birth to a baby, and everyone is so anal about what she looks like after giving birth, and is she pretty, is she all sweaty? I hope she doesn't look sweaty. She just gave birth to a freaking baby. Of course she looks like crap. Everyone should look like crap. And yet she looked amazing because they had dolled her up right before the cameras. I feel like that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I look like shit when I had both my kids. And that's the way it should be. You're supposed to look like crap. You gave birth to a baby. You're supposed to look terrible. It's just kind of how things go. No one looks amazing after passing a giant watermelon through their cooch, okay? No one's supposed to look great. And everyone's just so focused on the visuals. No one's even thinking about, oh my god, she just had a baby, and this baby is part of the royal family, and it could I don't know, like, govern the country in his lifetime when he grows up. Like, that's an amazing thought. But no one's worried. No one cares about that. Is Kate Middleton pretty? Is she still hot after giving birth to a baby? That just astounds me. I think that's the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. She just had a baby. Who cares if she still has baby weight or if she doesn't have baby weight? I think the whole thing is really, 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 really stupid. And how women us ourselves, we're duped into it. We're thinking, yeah, I am totally independent. I am totally cool, and I don't depend on a man and whatever. And the women in movies and stuff that are supposed to be independent, they make them bitchy and catty, and they're like, well, they're terrible to be around, and they pushed family and having a husband and all this stuff aside, so they're not really worth having around anyway. I'm like, what? Who said you had to get married to be important in a female culture? That seems really dumb. I mean, when I was a teen, I didn't want to get married, and I didn't want to have kids either, and I'm now married with kids, and I'm not saying I regret my life, I really don't, but I feel that women are just, we're supposed to go this line, and if we veer off of it, then something's wrong with us. You mean you don't want to cook and clean all day? Like, that's not something you're into? I'm like, I feel like nobody would ask that question for a guy. Would you go up to a man like, do you enjoy housework? Do you like making pot roast? My husband likes making pot roast. Do you vacuum often? And I'm sure there are men out there that do take charge and they're like, yeah, I do vacuum. I vacuum a lot. But I do feel like that same man, if he were to get married or have a significant other, the other would probably be doing majority of the work. And I do housework. I don't really, I really don't consider myself a housewife. When I think housewife, I think of like 60s, 50s and 60s, June Cleaver kind of thing. And I don't really feel like a housewife. I just feel like I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a mom who takes care of kids all day and doesn't get paid for it. You know how crappy that is? I feel like women who stay home, we personally take ourselves out of the workforce so that we can raise human beings. I mean, everyone's always like, raising kids. No, these are human beings that we are molding to someday grow up and become useful in society. That's hard. And I'm not trying to say that I have the hardest job ever, but it's really hard being a stay-at-home mom. You don't get anything for yourself. You literally live for your kids. And everyone's like, well, you're a mom. That's the way it's supposed to be. But it's hard to do that. To not think, to try and push all your attention and all your love and everything onto your kids and husband or boyfriend, or if you're a single mom, you're still focusing on the kids, and yet you don't really get much of it for yourself. I mean, I have to wait for my kids to go to sleep before I can take a shower. And people are like, well, it's just a shower. But you know how awesome a shower can be after 2 to 3 days? You're just exhausted. You feel disgusting and oily and gross. And all you want to do is get in the shower and, clean. But you have to, your entire schedule depends upon your kids. And I'm not saying it's a horrible life, but it's a tough one. And I really feel like women in that position really don't get enough credit. They think, I mean, yes, women in the workforce and who have kids, that's a really hard job too. I don't know how people would do it. But there's also a lot of pros that go with that, because you get time to yourself to be someone other than a mother. Because women who stay home and take care of their kids, we get lumped in this category that, oh, you're just a mom. That's all you do. No. I think I love being creative. I love making movies. I love having parties and themed things and crafting. And I mean, yeah, I like to go shopping, but I don't really get to do that much because I don't make my own money, so I have to depend upon my husband, and majority of the time we have to pay bills. So I don't really get to have fun time all the time, and it's not like I can just take my kids wherever I feel like it. We only have one car, so my husband uses it when he goes to work. So I'm stuck at home all day. And it sounds great for maybe a week, but then you get to a point where you're just so tired of being in the same spot and seeing the same scenery over and over and over again, and you're just stuck, and there's really nothing you can do about it. The only thing I can do to change the scenery is to go for a walk. So I do that sometimes. But I think it's really hard when you're just kind of stuck. And I feel like women, no matter what job we have or what position or whatever we do, we're just sort of, well, that's okay. I mean, you're a woman. Life is going to be hard for you because you're a woman. It shouldn't have to be. I think we strive so much farther than men tend to, because it's easier in the workplace for them. It's easier for them to get hired than it is for women. And it's a shame. And even now, men still get paid more than women do on average, even if they have the exact same job. And there's supposed to be a law about that, but still happens. I don't know. I think it's because the women don't say anything about it, because they feel like, well, if I say something, I'm going to get fired, and it's just not worth it. And I feel like you are worth it. You're allowed to complain. You're allowed to be mad. You're allowed. Just because you are mad does not mean you're PMSing. Oh my God. That is the worst thing a guy can ever say to a girl. And expect to get punched, because that's just stupid. You don't go up to a girl and like, are you on your period? Because you're kind of bitchy. I'm like, you know what? I am on my period, and I'm going to kill you. And I just feel like, why do people say that? And women are just as bad. We're just as catty and just as mean. And the only way men are ever going to change is if we stop doing it to ourselves and stop doing it to other women. This is turning into a really weird, long rant. I don't even know if I will post this, but I think we really need to focus on our young people. And I think it's really, really important that we talk to our young girls and boys about what is appropriate and what should we be teaching our kids? And I mean, do you really want your son or daughter to be on one of those reality shows where it's all about how they look and they're beating up other people, and then, you know, it's that lifestyle. I don't want that lifestyle. Being a celebrity, it sounds like crap to me. Everyone's always like, oh yeah, it'd be great to be rich and famous. I'm like, there's a lot of junk that goes along with being rich and famous. Everyone just keeps thinking about the rich part and maybe the famous part. But, I mean, you don't really get any privacy, and everyone's so, you know, interested in how you look and what you're wearing, and oh my god, did you see her with those bangs? And it's just like, no. I really don't want that to be the most important thing of my day.